Pierson, good to see you again, man. Welcome back to Pop Alternative.
Great to see you as well. It's been a hot minute,
It has been
Marshmallow.
absolutely. It's weird, right? Because it was like spooky season, and now boom, holiday movie, Christmas movie.
Literally, the clock struck midnight and Mariah Carey started singing.
Literally, it's like November 1st. It's done.
Yeah.
I feel like, do you find that it's like stressful where it's like after like you have a cutoff point for October 31st where you can't watch as much spooky stuff? Like it's weird to think about, right?
It does feel like a moral obligation to watch Christmas movies as soon as it's past the 31st.
Yep.
But I'm also like a spooky season kind of guy year round. I love horror films, so
Yeah.
I can't help myself.
Absolutely. And but we are talking about A Merry Little Xmas, which I had a great time with. It was a lot of fun. I mean, Chet, he wears a lot of hats, you know what I mean? I don't want to say
Yeah.
much about the movie. I just kind of want to know what it was like kind of reading that in the script because like it must have been so much fun to film this movie and this character,
Yeah.
but like what was that like reading it and then seeing it come to life where you got there, you were able to do it, so to speak, that script to screen journey?
Man, it was really fun. The screenplay was great, but I there was so many changes happening as the closer we got to filming and as we were shooting, because Chet was he wasn't fully fleshed out by the time we'd started shooting in a lot of ways. So, it was awesome because Netflix trusted me, and the same with Steve and the whole team. And they trusted me to just like make choices and have fun. And like Steve did a great job of allowing me like a lot of improv freedom, which is, to be frank, one of my strengths as an actor, and I don't get to do it very often. So it's so much fun when I get to like have a little bit of fun and improv and do some comedy. And then Steve knows comedy so well, so it's just he's like, "That was funny. Do that again. That was great. Do that. I love it. Great. Do it again. But whatever else you want." And yeah, it was a blast, man. It was so much fun.
I'm wondering what it was like Christmas as a character in this. Did it feel sometimes like Christmas was its own character because it was like this whole thing that was like bringing everyone together, right? And trying to
Yeah.
fix things, but also not fixing things at the same time, right? Like, did it feel like Christmas rather than just being kind of the setting, right, of the backdrop? Like, did it feel like
Mhm.
a character in this movie at all sometimes?
Absolutely. Everything from the costumes we wore to the set decoration to, just the themes that were played out through the entire script. It really is as it should be in a Christmas movie. That would
Mhm.
make sense.
Yeah.
A character in the script that helps drive the story forward, because it's kind of like this clock is ticking down for all the characters to this pinnacle of a moment where love, not love, divorce, not divorce, life, not life. It is what it is. And then Christmas happens and you realize all these like great revelations. It's the ghost of Christmas current.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I find it interesting, right? Because when you get these scripts and then it's like, all right, it's go time. We're filming this movie, right?
Yeah.
It's two different things, right? Looking at what Chet, like what you have to do as Chet, and then looking at the
Mhm.
overall kind of story with all the other characters, and maybe Chet's
Yeah.
involved and maybe he isn't. Those are two. Do you see those as two different things from a mindset preparation standpoint? Like what's happening with your character and then what's overall happening with the story? Like, or do you kind of see
Yeah.
it all as one? Because it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, no, I think in a lot of ways, I'm shooting this movie with no bragging right now, but it's Bob Zemeckis and it's the coolest thing ever. So I can't help but like
Yeah.
get excited, the nerd brain in me. Um, and he had this great thing that he said at our page turn where he was like, "Hey, so everybody has their own movie that they're making in their head. And then I have the movie that I'm making. So let's come together with all these ideas and make a singular piece."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh, that's a great way to look at it." And, we come at it as actors from this really myopic point of view where it's like, this is the focus and this is where I'm at. And so we get these great choices. And then the director's job is to wrangle in all of our crazy and make a really coherent piece out of it. But yeah, sometimes in your head, you prep it as if, your character's living his own life and doing his own things. But then when you get on set, you realize a lot of that has to shift to adapt to everybody's choices and to the director's vision and the movie as a whole. So hopefully, you can adapt and play.
Mhm, absolutely. And I guess my filmmaker hat asks you this question, Pierson, because these are the things I think about. But it's interesting. We see some scenes, with you and Alicia, and like, you know, it's a runtime of 2-3 minutes, right? And then it goes to the ever scene, right? But I know that there's a chance that like that scene, you know, took a while to do, maybe a couple of days and everything, especially that sledding
Yeah.
stuff probably took a long time overall. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When that
Yeah.
happens, like, do they feel like their own mini movie, mini projects, those big scenes, or do they overall feel like part of the project as a whole?
Oh man, that's a good question. You know, movie to movie and scene to scene for sure. But yeah, like some of the sledding stuff happened over a period of a couple days, and then a lot of the house sequences we were there, and then we shot some other stuff. Then we came back, and sometimes when it's like when there's weeks in between because you're getting location stuff, or even days in between, you're like, oh yeah, that's right, we were just here. And you're running on such a crazy schedule that your brain's not thinking correctly and you haven't slept in days. And so, you know, yeah, sometimes it does feel like you're making different movies and you're just like, I hope this all works.
Yeah.
I'm crossing my fingers that I did an okay job.
Absolutely. And there's so many ways people consume media, like TV shows and films, right? Like with you
Yeah.
know, these films and like also The Wrong Paris, it's Netflix, right? It's the whole kind of
Yeah.
like drops worldwide, everyone watches it type thing. And then there's like you're on TV shows where they do the week to week drops, but then they also do the binge, right? And then
Yeah.
the movies like Marshmallow, like you could see it at certain like screenings and everything. And some movies do film festival runs. Are you ever conscious of how people are going to watch the media you're producing while you're making it at all? Or is that something that happens a little bit after you wrap?
I try to be really aware of the medium that it's going to be watched through. And you know, like you can look at some of the greats, Scorsese or Nolan or Spielberg and Zemeckis, and understand that they're making movies to be viewed on as big a screen as possible. And a lot of times for streaming, our job is sometimes not always, like the story always remains true, the acting always remains true, but sometimes your job is to make sure that people can see things on a smaller screen because they might be watching on the subway or they might be watching, you know, while on a family trip or something like that. So a smaller screen. And so you're setting things up maybe a little bit differently from a directorial cinematography point of view and like a perspective view, just the way you view it. And even like, you know, if we're shooting ads for YouTube or something like that, it's a totally different style of like humor, beats, timing, and editing. So yeah, I think you have to be conscious of the medium that you're inside of.
I feel like us as creatives and storytellers, it kind of started very similar, right? Where we probably like you probably watch your favorite TV show or film and you were like, hey, I want to do this one day. Like, I feel like that's how it
Yeah,
starts, right? Do you feel like you watch things differently now that you know how it's made? Because like
absolutely.
I always wrote
Absolutely,
that. Like, what
man.
would it be like the movies we saw when we were younger, knowing like, oh, that's why they did a wide shot, or like, oh, that's why. You know what I mean?
Dude, okay, so my favorite thing, so like I took a film history class in college,
Mm.
and then you know, I've done so many acting classes out here and studied with some really great coaches and studied with people that discuss film and blah 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 blah. And you know, they really get into the muck with like, so this choice was made because of X, and it, you know, it stemmed from the backstory of the mother's womb and da 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 da. And then you realize on the day they just ran out of time. That's why they did it. You know,
Yeah.
they ran out of time and budget, and that's why the shot looks the way it does, and that's why the acting choice was the way it was because they ran out of time.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny to look at stuff like that where it's great because audiences interpret it whatever way they want to, and whatever, however, like the editor and the director make them feel in that moment, which is the beauty of cinema. But certainly, there's so many things where I'm like, I bet you there's a better story here than you know than we're giving it credit for.
100%. It's crazy. Whenever you work on something that's like a holiday film or like a
Mhm,
sports film or a music film or anything, does
mhm.
it feel like you're making like a music film, a sports film, a holiday film, or does it feel like you're making like a romantic comedy that is at Christmas time, or you're making like a drama that is about a sport? Like it's interesting because you can look at it both sides of things, right?
Yeah, yeah. You know, I think I try not to get too caught up in, let's say, the genre while we're making it. Like, I, as long as the performance stays as real and as grounded as possible, unless
Mhm.
it's not supposed to be real and grounded. um I think performance wise I try not to shift too much, but then I do have moments where you become aware of the medium and you have to like suspend disbelief and like be like, oh well, this is a rom-com like The Wrong Paris, where we shot a slow-mo horse washing sequence.
Yes.
And that is a moment that is surreal, and you've got to lean into it and let it be funny and sexy and do whatever and whatever. And those are the moments where you're like, oh, this is the part where we have fun and take a break from genre and really lean into this beat.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And then last question before we wrap up, and this is the only. My questions are very craft based. I love people going in fresh, so I don't want to tell them much about Chet, because there's some you have some fun stuff in this. Like it's great. No, you're really good at what you do, man. Seriously. And very different from your role as that jerk counselor Marshmallow. Yeah. That guy was the worst counselor, by the way, but that was the point. But it's interesting, right? Because Chet shows up in this film he's got all this confidence and he knows what he's figuring it out. But then it's you think about it, it's this guy does not have it. From my perspective, right? He does not have it figured out. He's lost in a lot of ways. Is it more fun or challenging to play lost characters, soul-searching characters? Because from a viewer perspective, they don't know they're lost. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I think there's certainly a fine balance between kind of all of it. For the heavy dramatic stuff or the intensity of a character, that can become draining and intense in its own right. But then when you're playing a character that has to be lost but unaware that he's lost, like a Chet, he's wearing many hats.
Yeah.
I think there's a play in it and an energy to him. He's not really looking for the right thing. He's just always doing something. He's always engaged and he's always present. So that keeps me from having to my character's doing this. And it's just hey, he's just living he's living his best life in the moment right now. And he's so present and he doesn't know what's going to happen next. And I'm that's a great attitude to have for the rest of this movie for Chet.
But Merry Little Xmas is going to be on Netflix worldwide November 12th. I can't wait for people to check that out. Pierson, good to see you again, man. Thanks so much for your time.
Great to see you again as well, and I can't wait to see you next time. Let's have some more fun.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Pierson and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.